Hi, this is an amazing today. I can't believe that I have been plopped back down on the face of this earth after my terrible fate of being removed from the throne of England some 300, almost 50 years ago. As a believer in absolutist rule, I have refused to work with this interviewer who wanted to meet with me. I told John Stewart that I would not appear on his show, and I took his cameraman and I've brought him out here to this wonderful place I'm living right now for this week. It is called Ojai, California. I want you to know a little bit about myself. You know that my father, Charles I, was beheaded by just some terrible, horrible Puritans in Parliament in 1649, and as a youngster I was forced out of our wonderful castle and I had to go live in France, being protected by one of my cousins, Louis XIV. And while I was in France, I worked in the army. I became quite an expert soldier. I fought in France and Spain. And then a wonderful event happened in 1660 when my brother Charles II was allowed to come back to England and take the throne that, of course, was rightfully ours, belonging to the Stuart family. And so I came back to England, but people were always suspicious of me. They thought that I might be a Catholic and that I was going to spread Catholicism, which, of course, may or may not have been true. I don't know because I never got the chance to do it. But I do know that I was always very suspicious of these people in Parliament who wanted to keep other religions from having any sort of freedom, such as Catholicism, or even there were these Protestant religions, these people who were known as dissenters, who just didn't like Anglicanism very much. And of course, as a result of the Test Act of 1673, Catholics and these dissenters were not allowed to occupy any high positions in English society, and I always felt that just was not fair, that went against what I saw as religious freedom. But unfortunately for me, when I became king in 1685 and I started to ignore the Test Act, people in Parliament, these Anglicans who wanted to make Anglicanism the only religion in England, they became very suspicious of me, and they went behind my back, and they made an agreement with my daughter, whom you'll meet in a little bit. She's crazy. I was able to bring her back in a reduced form. I didn't want to bring her back as an adult because I know she would not have wanted to hang out with me, so you'll see her as a little baby. That way I can control her because I really like control. I'm an absolutist monarch. But she overthrew me with her backstabbing husband, William of Orange, and of course that is known as the Glorious Revolution, but I see that as the inglorious disaster of 1688 and 1689 when I was kicked out of my own country and had to go back to France. And my poor son, James III, whom you'll also meet in a second, he's a little shy, just be prepared for that. He had to live out the rest of his life in France in a foreign country and was never allowed to occupy what was rightfully his, the throne of England. So you will get to meet these people in just 1 second. Hi, this is my daughter, Mary. And Mary, I know, you're my daughter. And then you decided to overthrow me. Why did you do that? It was such a sad day for me. I loved you and your husband, William of Orange, so much. And I trusted you. And then you came behind my back in 1688 and you kicked me off the throne. I know. Can't we figure out how to become friends again? What was it that I did to you that made you so mad? And that made it so that you wanted to kick me off the throne? But I guess you went on and you led England as a Protestant country, and You just left me alone in France and you never visited me in my old age. It was a sad time for me. All I wanted was to be friends with you and your husband, William. Hi, and I'm glad you've joined us again. This is my son, James the Third. He's currently hiding behind me, and I thought I would tell you a little bit about him. He was born in 1688 and actually should have been the King of England rather than the husband of this monster right here, Mary. Of course, you remember Mary. Here's James the Third, born in 1688, and he's part of the reason I was kicked out of the country because every member of Parliament who was a Protestant thought that this guy was going to be raised a Catholic and that England would become a Catholic country again. And of course that was not true. And then they've spread vicious rumors that he was not even born to my wife, the Queen Mary of Modena, that he was somehow shipped in and delivered in a, they called it a warm bedpan. These rumors, these false charges are horrible. And poor James was never allowed, this my son here, poor James III was never allowed to occupy the throne of England. James, you remember what you had to do? What'd you have to do? Where'd you have to go? He's hiding again. He had to go live in France for the rest of his life. He tried to mount a rebellion and he was put down, but he had followers, and there he goes. He had followers who supported his right to the throne of England, and they were known as Jacobites. And I'm sorry, James III, he has currently left the building. Well, you can see him right over there. And so you might ask, and John Stewart, who I thought that he was part of my family, and then I saw his last name and I realized he was an imposter, so that's why I wouldn't let him do this interview. He wanted to ask me what was my legacy? What did I leave today in modern America? Well, clearly, I'm a big believer in religious freedom. My Declaration of Indulgences during the very first part of my reign in the mid-1680s showed that I wanted to allow all types of religious peoples to have freedom to different parts of society. Of course, the Anglican extremists at the time wouldn't allow for that. What is it that I don't, or what is it that I think about the United States today? Well, I love this religious freedom. I like the fact that there's so many Catholics around. That's a great thing. I'm not a big fan of all of this democracy and this belief in representative government. I think it's messy. If this Barack Obama would just take control of everything, I'm sure you people would actually get your health care and you'd get the environment under control, but why does he have to have the support of so many other people to get things passed? I must go now. I've got other things to do, but it was lovely to be with you. I'm going to go have some tea right now. Bye-bye.